Hastro World, welcome to the stream this week, my peoples. Glad to see you here this week. Glad you could join us. Glad you made the time, schedule some time out of your busy Monday to come rock with us for a little bit. Rayvon, how you doing, my brother? How was the week, man?
I do, doing pretty good, man. Can't complain. Had a pretty good week, I would say. Relatively productive. Not as productive as I would want it to be, but
Mm.
a decent week overall. How was the week for you, Hans?
Week was pretty busy.
Mm,
Um, had a busy weekend, a lot of to dos, a lot of activities and what's not. Um, feeling a little not 100, but nothing can stop me from bringing energy to the stream. You know how it
Are
is.
they? That
Um,
easy.
you know, like I was telling you before, like you might hear a little more clear throat here and there, but you know, we here, we live, and we ready to go, we ready to rock. Um,
Yeah, that
it's
easy.
this word in my mouth, but I guess people will understand why. Shortly. But yeah, people's like I said, if you're in the stream, hit that like button for us. We definitely would appreciate that. Stay on, engage with us also in the comments. If you're watching, we definitely like to hear your views and hear your thoughts on some of the things that we'll be seeing. Also, our is Instagram is going to be live this week as well. Honestly, it never turns off. So rock with us on that. To follow up.
Spotify.
Just, yeah, to stay tuned. Spotify with the all audio version of the stream as well. If
Shout out
you
to the
have
Spotify listeners.
time, for sure, 100%. So, with that said, peoples, let me not waste too much time and dive into the stream. Unfortunately, we don't got Hakim today. I know you people will be looking forward to hearing Hakim thoughts as well, but things happen and he's not able to make it today. So, big shout out to Hakim. But yeah, let me start off by talking about the Nuggets. At the beginning of the season, Nuggets was this team that you know, was recognized early on because they were the defending champions, right? And at the beginning of the season, the Nuggets seem to have been struggling a little bit based on their records. I mean,
Yeah.
they got outpaced in the in season tournament, which I feel like a lot of people forgot about already.
Yeah.
Since it's been
That's
that
a
long,
distant memory.
it's like,
For
wait, did we
real.
even have that?
I totally forget about it.
Exactly. So there's be some signs and some worries in mind of the Nuggets and I guess surrounding the thoughts of if they will be able to make it um and be a good opponent for the or a good I should say prospect for the defending champs this year and maybe do the double. And somewhere along the line, if you've tracked their season, they've been constantly making progress, and it seems like it's been a overall warm up to where they are right now. Right
Yeah.
now,
Good way
your
to put it.
boys are in the number one seed, and Jokic seems to be like I said early in the season. It seems like these guys were out of shape, was out of it, was having some championship hangovers and what's not. But right now, they've been impressive, especially Jokic. So last 10 games, right, for just tell the people how good this team has been.
Well, the Nuggets gone 8-2 in the last 10 games, which is exceptional as you would expect. Got to win more. You got to win a lot more games than you lost.
Yeah,
But I can't say that I had a particularly difficult schedule in this stretch. But they did play Boston. I had a big win against Boston. Um, they had the Mavericks last night. Kyrie spoiled the night for spoiled the
that
trajectory
was
that was
tough.
on for the most
That
part.
was
We can talk about
tough,
that a little bit
bro.
later. Yeah.
That
We can talk about it.
was
They play the
tough.
Suns. Uh, well, they lost to the Suns actually when they played the Suns. They played Miami, Spurs. They played Lakers. They played the Warriors.
Yeah.
Um, so a few okay teams. They had a pretty decent schedule, a pretty easy schedule. But going back to your point, I just felt like they coasted through majority of the season. So far, I didn't really feel like they were putting together the most impressive basketball. But what I can say, when they needed to, as I talked about last week, they was able to flip that switch against Boston. I
Yeah.
know this as a juggernaut matchup for them to really, put the league on notice to some extent. They came in, did the work, won that game. So any of those big games like that, they've really showed up. But
And
again,
that game could have been a preview for what could
for the
be
finals,
finals.
yeah, it
And
really
if
could
it's
be.
going to be like
But
that, then we could start making predictions.
the prediction will be easy. The prediction will be very easy.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, they've been that team as I keep going back. They've been able to flip that switch, and I think we're seeing them doing it. Yes, again, I think they have a relatively easy schedule. From for the rest of the season, they played most of their difficult basketball already, so they've been able to capitalize on that. And well, they up to last night they had the number one seed, uh, but they lost to the Mavs. Now that put them back just a game behind the Thunder. Well, I think it's going to go back and forth between the Nuggets and the Thunder. I think they have what it takes. I think the schedule is favorable for them to win that number one seed, and they have 3 games against the Timberwolves, 2 to get like the tiebreaker in the division. So all those reasons, I think they will be at better health than Minnesota is right now um, in those matchups. So they have the advantage through and through. Right now, they are the prime team to take the top spot. And I think specifically for the Nuggets, they should always want to get that number one seed and carry home court advantage as far as they can because of the fables that the players talking about. Playing in Denver is a different story. The high altitude is really tire you out and stuff like that. So them being
Yeah.
accustomed to playing this also have an extra advantage now with
Right.
making sure that they get that number one seed throughout the playoffs. Well, with the exception of Boston, because we know Boston probably can win 60 something wins. And
Mhm.
they will have it for the finals if they make it there. But I can see the motivation for the Nuggets trying to push for that number one seed, and it's a no-brainer with the schedule being so easy for them
Uh,
to
uh,
run out the
s-
season.
Sometimes I question this high altitude thing because
Mhm.
these games are played in arenas, and I work in a field where enclosed spaces are actually for designed for comfort, basically. So
Mhm.
like sports complexes and what's not will have similar um design criteria. And I'm not sure. This is probably something that I have to look into, but
Mhm.
I don't know if it affects them as much as it might affect, let's say, outdoor sport, like if they had a baseball game,
All right, gotcha.
um, where they're like at the altitude outside and breathing in
Yeah,
that air from
yeah.
outside. But I feel like the
All
air
right.
is treated inside the arena and it's
Mhm.
not really as much of a factor as a lot of people might rate it to be. But that's just a thought that just came to my mind when you
That's a
mentioned
good
that.
point.
But
I I never thought about it like that, but I think that NBA players are so in tune with their body. They know how to feel versus playing at home versus playing against them. Or it could be just that the Denver Nuggets so potent on offense it tired them out too fast. It could be done. But
that's true.
um,
Fast starts.
yeah, I think that I don't think that is something that they make it. Too many players have spoken about it.
Mhm.
A lot of analysts, but I never thought about it that way. But it might not be as big of a factor as they may make it seem. Just as you're saying.
Right. Yeah, I mean, sometimes people could be saying things because other people say it too, and just cling on
Yep,
to that
that's
being
that's very
a
true.
factor and add it to the list of excuses for not winning. But hey,
That's a great
sometimes
point.
that's exactly how it does be.
Mhm.
And some people feel to see it that way. But um, again, Jokic being such an outstanding player, like
Mhm.
back on the MVP talk that we've had for a couple weeks now, Jokic got to be that guy at this point. Hey,
Yeah.
at this point, it can be if buts or maybe we can be talking about other players at this point. I feel like he's the guy.
Yeah. Well, except for last night, he didn't really have a good game against Luca. Well, not against Luca, but against the Mavericks. Um,
Mhm.
he had like 16 points and 10 rebounds or so. A very mediocre stat line
He's allowed
compared to what
that
we're used to seeing.
sometimes,
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know what's happening in that game specifically, but um,
Dallas,
they really
buddy.
performed. Jamal Murray had a yeah, Dallas had a good game.
Yeah.
Luka and Kyrie had a good game, but um, for the most part, he's been racking up the stats. He's been really dominating the scene. Nobody could
Mhm.
really and truly. Um, he just he's just a force, and a force in a way that you wouldn't think is the how to explain it. I just see this man is just be dancing on the court against players. You just see this man do a pirouette, spin into a floater, and such a big guy do it shooting the floater, and that's pretty much a lot of his game. How he scores most of his points, and then he still has
Mhm.
the brawn and the toughness to back you down and put you in the underneath the basket as well.
Yeah.
Just so dominant, and I could say the biggest asset to his game is his passing. Like that is the most feared part of him. That's what opens up everything for him because it's like they know if you leave him in certain spots, he's going to see the open man. He's going to make the pass perfectly.
Yeah. Can't really
So
double team a guy like that either.
can't really double team it. So every time it happens, Aaron Garden is in the sky throwing down a lob. So he's just playing on a clinic, I would say, against the players solidifying way he's truthfully the best player in the league. I don't think this is up for debate, regardless of MVP discussion or not. I think anyone would agree with me now and say Jokic is the best player in the league. Any given point, he could turn it on and bring our team home for a win. Um, So again, solidifying himself. I think he's going to take this will be his third MVP,
Mhm.
and he's going to put him in the conversation with some big boys in terms of the goal
Big names.
discussion. Yeah, big LeBron, Giannis, Jordan, all these guys with three or more MVPs. Um,
Mhm.
I think it is reflective of how dominant he has been over these past, let's say, 3, 4, 5 seasons. Um,
Mhm.
so I don't see where else could the vote could go.
But considering that, considering the debate and what's not, him being a part of that, do you feel like there's some aspect of being the goat that lends to style of play? Because when you hear
Yes,
about
for sure.
people talking about the goat, like Jokic is not one of those people that come to
No.
mind because of how slow and steady he is in a
Yeah.
way. And people might think, well, look at his size, and yes, he has passing
Like this.
abilities, so that's kind of like
Yeah.
unfair. You know what I mean? So, um, is that something that people do consider? And
I
would
think
he
they do.
be a person that might just drop off a lot of NBA heads' radar when it comes to that, especially if those people aren't really like big on stats, or they might be, but they just think that that style and flair might have
No,
as
I
big as
think
the
NBA.
stats.
I think if he's an NBA head, you know that Jokic is up there already. There's no
Yeah,
debate about it. NBA head is not going to value style or play as much when it comes to you can see somebody's dominance. The numbers show it, the players show it,
yeah.
regardless of if he's that he can't jump 2 feet off 2 inches off the ground, or if he could jump
Tiptoes.
50, if he got 50-inch vertical. Like regardless of that, like people know people that watch the game knows who he is and what he should be considered in the likes of the players that he will be considered in, uh,
Mhm.
despite not having a flashy game. And
Right.
I think that people know ball. They see his impact. Uh,
Yeah.
I just don't think it could be debated. But I do think that flashiness is a factor that goes into it. Like a lot of people would put Kobe in their top five all time. Kobe is a
Yeah.
great player, but statistically, if you really look at it, Kobe has a lot of inefficiencies in his game and has had a lot of inefficiencies in his game that wouldn't put him in the likes of Jokic statistically if he was to like match their careers at this point, for example.
Right.
Um, but he's still a
That's a
love
fair
player
point.
because of the person that he was and the
Yeah.
style that he brought to the game
And who he
as
came
well, or
after
the
as well.
passion, yeah, and the mentality that he had. So like
Yeah.
those type of intangibles kind of propel Kobe to that heights. But um, yeah, people put an
So
emphasis on it, but I
yeah,
don't really see it as impactful as the stats and how you change the way people look at playing you on defense, how you change the
right.
way that people play offense because picking up stuff from you, like those things are more impactful. The way you change the game on a whole when it comes to the actually the X and O's is a big factor to
Right.
me.
That's a fair point, but I just wanted to draw a comparison when you talk about those intangibles.
Mhm.
Those intangibles are an interesting point because you will look at a career like Muhammad Ali's
Mhm.
versus, let's say, a Floyd Mayweather,
Yeah,
and some might argue, well, hey, Muhammad is the greatest of all time, but he
yeah,
had a lot of vocal impact on people's lives
yeah,
outside of the ring,
correct.
and film struggle and all those kind of things that
Mhm.
I think put him up there.
Mhm.
Um, and a lot of people would probably not think about Floyd being the greatest because of
Yeah,
all the out of the ring stuff and activities that Muhammad Ali has engaged in,
yeah,
and the impact that he had. So
yeah,
I think too that those intangibles do have a lot of weight with them, but it also depends on the sport and the following.
Mhm.
Because if you're not that person, then your intangibles, well, I should say your argument for being the goat then just reduces to what you've done on the court, right?
Mhm.
But like if you're like LeBron or like how famous Jordan was,
Yeah,
um then there's a lot more that you can argue why he would be the goat. And like
yeah,
because he's
yeah, and
inspired so many people, like
yeah.
he's brought so many people into the sport, etc., etc.
Mhm. Yeah, I believe that there is a place for it, but
Hmm.
I just don't think that should outweigh your performance in the sport because there's social impact. Sports has social impact and all sorts of other types of impact. I would say the actual game, which is totally
Yeah.
understood. But I just don't think that those things should outweigh um, your actual performance as a player in whatever sport it may be in a GOAT discussion. Yes, they will factor in, but I just don't like to see when it's
Well,
overly
I guess
factoring in.
I guess you might have to change the acronym then to greatest basketball player of all time
I
and be
guess
more
so.
specific because I mean, but then that opens a whole can of worms that I don't want to get
Yeah,
into. Well, if
exactly.
it was just
That's a whole long
specify
discussion.
basketball, then yeah,
Yeah, the
um,
criteria. There's always defining the criteria is always difficult for
correct.
these things.
And it's already implied anyway. But it
Hmm.
just seems like there's more to being the goat than stats. Is my
Yeah,
point.
yeah,
Um, so with that and with the form that Jokic is in, and also the team following so closely behind in terms of mentality and performance and support as well.
yeah,
You've mentioned that teeter totter back and forth seesaw type of vibe between the two top teams right now in the West, which we know is a competitive conference.
mhm.
You think they have enough to secure it?
Yeah,
Given
for sure, for sure.
okay,
For sure. I'm very confident that they will get the number one seed. As I was saying earlier, they have one of the easiest schedules remaining. They play a lot of bad teams in the next couple of weeks. So
yeah,
I don't see them dropping out. I could say the Thunder too. The Thunder has a pretty easy schedule as well. But I put my my chips on the Nugget side. I think they seem a little bit more focused despite that last game against Mavericks. They seem a
yeah.
little bit more focused and more hungry to get in number one seed. Know that they have looked for the whole season, as I said, as you were mentioned, they were just as you talk about seesaw. They were kind of a seesaw to some extent early in the season. It just feel like they had a good record, but it just didn't feel like
Mhm.
they were playing good basketball, much like the Bucks were to some extent. Not to their extent, not to the Bucks extent, but to some
Yeah,
extent,
yeah.
they felt kind of like
Along
the
those
Bucks
lines.
with they got a good record, but it just didn't feel like they're playing as dominant as their record may suggest.
Yeah.
But they really, to me, they really teetered it up since the All Star break. Over the last 15 or so games, they went 13-2. So, um, And on top of this, one of the big things that people keep talking about, and they talked about it last week, they got that switch to flip. And when fourth
Yeah.
quarters come, it just feels like they know exactly what to do to take the game home every single time, and no one can stop it. And they played some of the most clutch games so far, in terms of number, 30 something clutch games on the season, and are
Mhm.
got us maybe like a 70% win percentage on clutch games for the season. So best net rating, 25 plus points in the
And that's
clutch.
what
So
championship team needs.
yeah, exactly. You know when to turn it on. You turn it on when it matters the most. So
Yeah.
I'm certain they'll get the number one seed, given all these parameters around schedule and the state of play of the team right now, and Jokic's performance.
Facts. Facts.
Yes, sir.
Speaking of teams that have been playing all these clutch games, the Bucks put on a pretty impressive first half against the
Yeah.
Suns yesterday.
Oh boy.
Scoring scoring a ridiculous 82 points, but then
In the first
that
half,
was
we
kind
got to mention that part first. 82
yeah
points in the first half.
in the
In
first
the
half,
first half.
which is ridiculous. But then um it seemed like the Suns had a pretty good answer for that, and the game
Yeah, they almost come back.
was yeah was decently close considering how much points ahead the Bucks were, which shows that Bucks definitely has a defensive issue,
Mhm.
and also that Bobby Porter just had a good game, and the other guys were feeling it as well,
Mhm.
and kind of right on that train with Bobby.
Yeah.
I mean,
They had
you don't usually hear
18
about
threes in the first
players
half.
getting that's crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy. So I don't know what were your thoughts initially when you saw it. Kind of react
I
to
was
that.
just like, I was like, 82 points in your first half. What the hell is going on? Like, I'm pretty sure. I don't know. Let me not say that. I didn't watch again. Let me just put out there. I just saw the score and I was like, this can't be right. This cannot be right. 60 points in the first half is decent for today's game, which the Suns had, and
Yeah,
it was like, but that's still a pretty high first half score. You up 22 on a pretty high first half score. Like,
yeah,
come on, what are the Suns doing? But again, when the team gets hot and you continue to let them get hot, then those are the things that happen.
yep,
One of the big flaws of the Suns is not being able to have a strong defensive unit. Um, both of these teams, like I say, could be kind of in the same category. Has the potential to be extremely potent offensively, and
yeah,
the the deficiency to be extremely horrible defensively at points too. So
yeah.
these
You need to find that
these teams are
balance.
already saying they could them doing the Spider Man meme right now. It's just that one of these was like I don't know, an evolved version of Spider Man. I got the edge on this night,
Yeah, it
but
was a little bit better. Yeah, I think honestly it was surprising because I was saying, okay, this has to be a 160 point game. No, like this got to be
yeah,
ridiculous. Just like one
or
that the
150
Celtics
almost.
had recently. Can't remember who they did it against, but like they had a ridiculous super high scoring game against one of these
Mhm.
teams. Um and and like you said, this honestly just shows the offensive power of the teams, but they need to find a balance, especially if they want to make it through the playoffs, to
Correct.
even knock on the doors of getting out of the championship, getting out of the playoffs for the championship, especially Milwaukee Bucks. Like they're the next closest thing to Celtics. And if
Mhm.
they could put this pressure on Celtics early on, they have to have some defensive power to slow them down if they
Yeah.
start to get hot. Like if they start to warm up, because otherwise they can start hot and then they're going to lose the game. And
Mhm.
to be fair, Bucks did the Bucks did this without Giannis, and
Yeah, yeah, that's the
that is
impressive
pretty
part.
impressive.
Yeah, correct. But I guess without Giannis, well, not necessarily. I mean, we got some more spacing because you got shooters all the way around. Giannis is not a shooter. Giannis is probably one of the players on the team that plays so much minutes as not a shooter. Most of the other top 8 players on the Bucks are shooters. Bobby
Mhm.
Portis, Brett Lopez, that play like that big power forward position, center position. So they have some more space in. They could play for you out. I mean, they do play for you out with Giannis as well, but I mean, Giannis doesn't shoot the trees like those guys do. So
Yeah.
they have the recipe for success. Addition by subtraction to some extent. I don't think you would expect me to say that with Giannis specifically, but
Hey,
it,
we can
it
talk about
it's in this
somebody
game.
else along them lines too later on, but I can put a break on that right here, right now.
But the
Um,
Suns, before you tell me about the
yeah,
Suns though, KD said it. You're talking about the playoffs and they need to play defense. KD's philosophy is that offense wins championships. So we'll see if they could do that. I don't have faith in that, but we'll see.
funny enough that he was there, so given that in that same
Mhm.
game he didn't even have
He was
quite the
horrible. That's
I
funny. No, before we get any further, let me talk about KD for a little bit, actually, because I feel
yeah.
like more often this season, KD has been quite underwhelming more than he's usually been. To be honest,
Mhm.
I don't know if you think KD's getting down,
Getting down
uh,
in age,
yeah,
needs
or
needs
something like that.
needs some fluid.
But I don't know. This is one of the few games that Devin Booker and Bradley Beal both played in. So there's that. They haven't played
Yeah,
enough games, I would say, for
together.
them to
Yeah,
figure out the right balance. For them
I was
all to
gonna
be
say
efficient at the same time.
I was gonna say because at the beginning I think KD was the only player out of those three that has been playing the entire season. So he's had to
Yeah.
figure out three different styles of play. One
Mhm.
without Bill and Booker, the next one with just Booker, and now the one with all three of them playing together. So for sure the team philosophy on offense and defense will change as you bring in different players with different skill sets. So it could be that having to switch up so often because it's not like Bradley Beal or Devin Booker would come in and just fill in for the players that were there before doing the same things.
Right.
Like they bring a lot more than what those supporting players would have brought to the game, and now you got to look to share the ball even more. Now you're not the
Mhm.
point guy. Now
Mhm.
everything that you've learned at the beginning of the season is kind of out the door, peeping in at because it's like you want to go back to it because it felt comfortable eventually, but
Mhm.
now it's like okay, I got to work with this. I got to find something new.
Yeah.
So it could be
Yeah.
that, and I think if they could survive enough, they probably should be able to make it. How far I don't know, but that's basically my spill on Suns and KD especially. I think he had a rough season, and honestly, we can't be too hard on him. So no, I don't think he's getting down. I still think he's a sniper that he is, but they've been switching his station, man. They want him to be Navy SEAL, air support,
Well,
everything for this
well, that's
season.
the difficulties of playing with 3-star players, pretty much. Um, and on top of that component is the number of injuries in and out. Can't find any consistency, uh, and you can't find any chemistry as well as
Yeah.
as you were late heading into this phase of the season heading into the playoffs. So I can understand. It's an underwhelming game for him, but they now got to figure out some stuff still, even though they
Yes.
did play some games, but it's been too little games, not enough to really figure out how to really maximize the offensive firepower that these Suns have all at once.
So so do you think then? Well, I've already said my piece on this, but do you
Mhm.
think they can maintain enough to get in to the playoffs and I guess even
Yeah, they
get
get
past
in for
two
sure.
rounds maybe? Can
I don't know how far
can
they
they
go.
figure it out enough to progress? I guess at least two rounds into the playoffs.
I don't know how far they go. To be honest,
Hmm.
it's tough to tell. The West is so hard to decipher. Everything is so matchup dependent, and
Yeah.
right now they would play. Let's see, who are they? Them in the six, sorry, 7 seed, I think. And I think the Wolves at
Hmm.
3. So it's either the Wolves or the oh no, then the AFC. Whoa. Um, well,
Yeah,
predicting that the
they gotta be
Nuggets,
careful.
yeah, at this stay in that spot, um, I predicting the Nuggets taking the number one seed and they got to play the Nuggets in the first round. I think that's a wrap for them from the jump.
Yeah,
I mean, they were the most competitive team against the Nuggets. Well, not really competitive, but in terms of wins, they won the most against the Nuggets. They won 2 games against the Nuggets in the
right.
playoffs last season. The only team to do so. So I guess
And
you could take
sometimes,
that with a grain of salt.
I mean, sometimes that's the thing with sports too. Like you can have a dominant team like the Nuggets, but then there's always this team that seems to somehow figure it out against that team.
Mhm,
You know what I mean?
mhm.
Like I can remember I was playing FIFA with my cousins, right? And you would win against certain people, but then you play certain people and you just don't win. And then when
Yeah,
those people that beat you play the others, they lose. And
yeah,
it's
all
like,
the time.
wait, why, why is it that I can't beat these people? I beat everybody else, but this particular person, and then this particular person just losing all the
Mhm.
other games. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
um, I don't know what kind of effect that is. Maybe some scientists that watch this could probably tell me what kind of effect this is. Could be the Hans effect. Um,
Yeah.
let me
I think
coin it
so,
right
man.
now before somebody pull on it. But
Well,
to yeah, I was gonna say I don't think Kitty's underwhelming to be honest this season. Like he's averaging
yeah, no, he's
27
doing
points
good,
every
but
season.
I just feel like compared to his consistent, efficiency, I just feel like this
Hmm.
season I felt like there's been quite a few games where he's been very inefficient, even though he might be putting up 27 points, but
Yeah,
KD's a man that's put up 27 points on 13 shots, 27,
right.
35 points on 20 shots, and I feel like very often when I check the box score or the Suns game this season, pretty often I feel like he's had a, a least efficient season than I've accustomed to him seeing. I could do pull
Right.
up some stats on this and probably maybe pour some him about it and see if it's true. Um,
Right.
but that's just funny a test. I just feel that he's had a lot of games where he's 7 for 20, 8 for 20, um, kind of like a
Yeah.
D'Angelo Russell stat line
Yeah,
type
because
of thing.
his average minutes are like 37, so that's pretty high
Yeah, like
mileage.
that's pretty high. Yeah,
Um,
like he shouldn't
yeah,
even be doing that, but he out of necessity to keep his team afloat because Booker
correct.
been out a lot, Bradley Beal been out most of the season. He had
Hmm.
to do it. He had to do
Yeah.
it. So it's
So
understandable.
yeah, I his struggles,
Hmm.
but I would say he did enough to keep the team in a certain seeding level.
Hmm.
Um, the the team didn't flop as bad as other so-called championship teams would have in ninth and tenth place right now, which is Warriors and um
Even with
Lakers.
their best players available most of the time.
Exactly. So I
Yeah,
think, hey,
but
even though he wasn't as efficient, he did a
mhm.
good job.
Shout out to Grayson Allen though. Grayson Allen has been playing out of his mind on that team. I don't think he get a lot of credit.
Hmm.
He's been one of the reasons why that team has been as good as it is. Uh, being an excellent facilitator of the ball and being an excellent 3 point shooter, man. I think uh, if he's not leading in the league in 3 point percentage, he's top five for sure. Top five for sure. So shout out to Grayson Allen. I don't think he's getting enough love as he should be, but he's really been the X factor for this team, for that team's success. And they're going to need him to stay the same way through the playoffs, truthfully, because
Right.
when things get tough for those three guys, they're going to need him to step up. And he's been stepping up all season. So I hope for their sake that he does continue to do so.
Hey, if you look at his stats, you some people might not agree with you, but hey,
So yeah,
sometimes it depends on
it's
how
not
it
going to
looks
pop.
rather than what it shows on
Yeah,
paper.
is not going to pop. He's not going to average 25 points a game or anything like that. But he's going to have a game where he has 6 trees or 7 trees or 5 trees. Like
Hmm. But he's needed
sometimes
most.
that's all. Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's sometimes that's all you
Always
need.
there when you need
Yeah,
us most. That's a
correct.
little Beijing inside joke people's from fans.
He
But
shooting
cool.
47.8% from three on the season. So that's definitely number one. That is crazy, dog.
Mhm.
47% from three on how much attempts a game? 5 attempts a game. So he making almost three trees a game. That's crazy. That is
Crazy
absolutely
for him.
absolutely insane. That's crazy for
Yeah.
anybody. 47%. That's well.
3 trees a game though?
No, five,
Come on.
almost six trees a
Right.
game.
Well,
5.8.
well,
And he making 2.8. So almost three. So let me call it three 3 minutes for every 6 shots. So almost 50%. Almost 50% from three on the season is crazy. I can't lie. I don't think anybody ever reached that number with that many attempts.
hey, I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna comment anymore on that, to be honest. But
I mean, that's special, man.
so certain players though, and past players that have a lot to say in the NBA.
Mhm.
Actually, in recent times, we've had a surgence of past players coming out and talking
Yeah, the
and
NBA
commenting.
podcast era.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
talking and commenting and sharing their views. And of course, they're going to get a lot of listens, especially to people that respected their game when they were playing, and people who follow them and actually look up to them sort of as NBA heads, just because
Mhm.
they've been in the league for a certain amount of time and they've got stats to prove that, and they're household names, right, in their respective eras. So recently, your guy shot Shaquille O'Neal, um, saying that your boy Rudy Gobert is kind of overrated on the defensive front. Um, no, this is another perfect scenario where the stats don't lie, but maybe the presentation kind of, you know, creeps in and kind of close
Yeah,
people's judgments
judgment.
and I guess ideas surrounding the stats. So thoughts on Shaq thinking that, Gobert shouldn't really be defensive player of the year, even though he got the stats to prove it, and kind of shaming his game.
I think shot just being shot. Um, he always trying to find a way to criticize. For the most part. So he's just doing that. He just being he. Um, a lot of people don't like Rudy. I don't know what it's with the man that people don't like, but people just don't like the man. I know the whole COVID scene with when the COVID started spreading the bubble, like he's
Mhm.
still staying by that to this day. But outside of that, like I just see like the other day he shot an air ball, Clippers bench going crazy, laughing at the man, yada yada yada. Like, I just
Mhm.
feel like a lot of people don't respect him, or
Yeah.
uh, a lot of players don't respect him. But at the end of the day, the man impact is undeniable. Before, I always just say, but why this man always used to win defensive player of the year? Like I just don't feel that he's be. I could maybe I could have sided with Shaq at the time and said maybe he's not that great. But when you sit
Mhm.
down and watch the amount of things that he's do, that you get a different appreciation for the player. That's how you know that guys don't watch people play. They don't watch players play basketball. Shaq don't watch Rudy Gobert play basketball. Shaq can watch one of the few games that maybe come on national TV when he on TNT with Chuck and Kenny, and base
Yeah.
his opinion based on that. And I think a lot of these NBA players has a US player bias as well. Because on
Mhm.
the same video, on the same podcast, he was talking about Bam at the bio, yada yada yada. And I just feel like they see a lot of European players having success in the NBA, and
Yeah.
I could say Steven is always one like it too. I just feel that like that patriotism. I don't know if that's the best word to use, but patriotism coming out of them kind of trying to boost up their own to some extent.
Mhm. Yeah.
Uh, I feel like that plays a role in it in shots mindset as well. And going to his style stylistically, a lot of people don't like Rudy Gobert is not an offensive player. He's very clumsy. It was not maybe not clumsy, but can't really catch the ball. He don't really got offensive bag at all. So I guess he's
Mhm.
easy to pick for that because of that. Um, and two, well, this might be the fourth point I'm making. uh, Gobert is he is not going to be a player that like necessarily locks up your your best player. And that's the point that Shaq was trying to make. Shaq was trying to say, "Oh, Bam could guard the best player. Grant Brown could guard 2, 3, 5, or 1, 2, 5." But that's Bam's skill set. Just I think Shaq is intelligent enough to know that there are different ways to impact the game defensively without locking up the best player. There's a team defense concept to defense in basketball, and being able to understand when to move, when not to move, who needs to be where and what needs to be where is a fantastic skill to have and a very important skill to have on the defensive end. You can ask Draymond Green. Draymond Green is not the biggest player or anything like that, but one of the reasons why he went defensive player is just because of his superior intellect on the defensive end when it comes to knowing where and when to be. That's one of the things that are not going to show on this stat sheet when it comes to Rudy Gobert specifically. And because he's not guarding the best players specifically on a given night, that doesn't make him less of the best defender on the team. Like he understands what needs to happen so that we could get a better defensive outcome based on the situation at hand. And I think Shaq is just being very petty and biased towards Gobert. I feel like a lot of people just don't like the man for whatever reason, for various reasons. But I don't know. I guess he's a acquired taste, maybe. So
People's that was basically a lesson in defense and how to analyze a player's defensive acumen. I just want you guys to give Rayvon a round of applause. Please give him a round of applause. That was actually well laid out. That was well thought of. But
appreciate it, brother.
you know me. I I can give you a. I have to play devil's advocate
Sure,
is
that
I
easy.
have to come with a different angle and kind of side with the protagonist a little bit. Just to hear your thoughts. No, we could argue also to add to what you were saying that Gobert is efficient in that sense. Like he doesn't have to run around like Bam tear it out himself. He
Yeah.
already got the mindset that okay, this is the way this is for this game. I don't need to shut down Jokic per se or any player like Jokic or Embiid. I could shut down the other players and be defensive that way. But don't you think that being able to shut down the highest point potential from the other team has to do with the defense? Like, let's say if you could shut down Messi, right? Let's say playing Barcelona back in the day, you're a defender that could shut down Messi, but your team still getting beat for love because other players scoring. Um, can you also argue that that player that shuts down the other team's best scoring potential would be the better defender?
You could make that argument to some extent, but you could always look at overall impact defensively. Um, Ideally, you got in basketball, you got 5 players on the court, and there are
Mhm,
different defensive roles in basketball. So, for example, most centers, most of the bigger players in the league are the defensive anchors for the team. Um,
yeah.
they're not going to be well. The state of the NBA right now is most of the best players are on the perimeter for the most part. So I don't see, for example, what Shot would be saying, like, say for instance, they're playing the Clippers. Why would Rudy Gobert be guarding Kawhi, for example? What would he
Yeah,
expect Rudy
RPG.
Gobert? But that's just not his skill set. That's just not his defensive role on the team. There are other players for those
Mhm,
defensive roles. It just so happens Bam, for example, has the tools available to morph into that role if necessary. But
mhm,
because Because I am not adaptable to that role, that doesn't make me less of a defender in the specific role that I play on the defensive end. So, as a defensive anchor for the team, I need to be able to protect the rim essentially.
Yeah.
Rudy Gobert's excellence at defending the rim has may have and does have maybe in a lot of instances a greater impact on disrupting the team's offense than Bam stepping up to guard away for a couple possessions in the game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe stopping in
This should
twice
cause a lot of
or
openings and stuff too
exactly.
in the paint.
So
Yeah.
if you look
Because
at it from that perspective,
I was wait, just quickly, I was watching
mhm,
the Lakers and Golden State game, and I saw when the defender stepped out, there was a lot of cut passes that were being made. And to your point,
mhm,
Rudy Gobert is a guy that could shut that down because
mhm,
he's always there in the paint to
yeah,
shut down those plays. So
exactly.
now your I guess your offensive power has to be from the perimeter.
Mhm. Uh, uh, and a way he excels with this specific Timberwolves team at the moment, I would say, regardless of what Shaq is saying, but one of the big gripes for Rudy Gobert over the past couple of seasons was, or when it gets to the playoffs, he gets exposed. I think what got exposed with the Jazz, and I've heard a lot of people actually taking back their analysis of it and coming to the realization that the Jazz just didn't have a good perimeter defense. I know that you've
Mhm.
seen him with elite perimeter defense on the Timberwolves with Anthony Edwards and Jaden McDaniels and Nikhil Alexander Walker, Carl Anderson, for example. All these great
Yeah.
defensive perimeter players that could start on defense. You seen one of the best defenses that the league has ever seen,
Mhm.
pretty much. And I am sorry that he got that bad rep, but I just hope that in this playoffs that the Timberwolves go far enough that people could get to see Rudy Gobert's impact on the defensive end, and Shaq won't be coming out saying Shaq won't be coming out saying stuff like that. And on top of that, they don't. I feel like because I've been watching the games, I feel like they don't give him enough credit for what he has been able to do. Even though he's a big guy, I don't expect him to be able to guard Steph Curry, for example. But any instances where I've seen him have to do those switches, for example, in the season, I think he's done a relatively good job that people would assume he would because of that. Those previous instances in the past with the Jazz, where he was pretty much trying to covering all the holes in the Jazz defense on his one son. So
Right.
Shaq, you need to watch the Timberwolves games. You need to watch really
Watch
good
more games.
for you. Yeah, I get understanding because I too was that same. I was always wondering why he won so much defensive player of the
Yeah.
years, but when I actually see him now on the team, I just say, yo, this man, like how people will turn up and just get bucket after buckets in the fourth quarter
Mhm.
on offense, on defense. Rudy Gobert does that, and I've seen it more than once. He's won us many a game this season with his defensive intelligence and his defensive prowess all season long.
He could flip last switch and become a clutch
Yes,
defensive player.
yeah, very much so. Even on the perimeter, where they say that he can't guard the ball in perimeter.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, I also hope that we could get a better analysis of Rudy Gobert in the NBA sphere.
Yeah, correct.
Um, because during the playoffs, they will obviously have more condensed games. Not a lot of teams will be
Yeah,
playing. So they will be able to focus more on individual games, and will be able to make a better assessment if they're willing to put down that bias,
yeah,
and really assess the game for what it really is and not what them think it should be. Um,
exactly.
so yeah, that's pretty much that. Another, you know, past NBA player saying that LeBron should take a step back and probably share the ball with the team a little bit more, because even though he's had some outstanding performances, they're not really resulting in wins. This was a view that Paul Pierce had recently as well. So, any quick thoughts on that?
Popper's the idiot. One point. At one moment, the people would be saying, "Oh, LeBron should have taken that shot. He shouldn't have passed the ball." Yada yada yada. Getting on LeBron for not taking the game winning shot or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
No, no, you saying that this man should pass him more. LeBron of all people. LeBron of all people. Like,
Hey,
come
well,
on, man.
his argument is saying that even though he's had these good games, they're not really resulting in wins. And he also brought up the point that without LeBron, Lakers did play really well, especially in that showing against the Celtics early up
That's
in
one of
in the season.
that's one of a few. That's one
Mhm.
in a few. I mean, D'Angelo Russell had a good game, and I think
Yeah.
when D'Angelo Russell has a good game, the Lakers do well. I think that's just a recipe. He's pretty much effective in most games. Um,
Mhm.
but when LeBron is sharing the ball and he man making these shots, what Paul Pierce is be saying? I don't know. I don't. I think LeBron has the IQ and has a great understanding of balance when it comes to when he needs to share the ball and when he needs to go and
That's
get
a
a
good
bucket.
point.
And
Yeah.
I don't see why Paul Pierce, after 21 years in the NBA, you've seen this man evolution. Why Paul Pierce is questioning that? But
Hey,
we
he
know
he
as
was a
NBA
previous
heads,
Celtic.
yeah, and he LeBron used to destroy the Celtics year after year. So there's some enemy bias there to that
Mhm.
conversation. Probably that's probably where that coming from a deep embedded hatred for LeBron that Paul Pierce has. Um, but Paul Pierce is an idiot. That's the best I could say there.
Well, we can keep the clock ticking and talk about the clicking stopping in the Lakers versus Warriors game
Yeah, boy,
Saturday night. The game was going
it,
all so well,
it
and
was,
then but then
and then
you know some technical issues
yeah,
with the clock, with the lead clock and the backup clock. Um,
like that's so embarrassing. Like
Unfortunate.
where were they playing? They were playing like Lakers Arena, I think. The people at the arena, I know them had a good past couple of days because
They just
whoever
chilled
the
out.
technical guy there probably get afraid that night. But nonetheless,
Mhm,
the issues didn't really start there, in my opinion. It
mhm,
first started off with these referees taking forever, about 11 real time minutes to review a Autobones play. Like it was so clear. Why did it take them so long to figure out? Oh, this thing is out of bounds. I think it was
mhm.
Draymond that had his foot on the line or something. I even know if that's the right play. Whatever they had a few plays in the final minutes of the game. There were about 2 minutes left, and they reviewed
Yeah,
two plays, and it took forever. And that was already sapping the life out of the game. Again, it's such a big game for playoff seeding and such a
yeah,
competitive game. With is LeBron and Steph. Probably a lot of people watching it because it's LeBron and Steph, and they're
yep,
just taking the life out of the game with these stupid long reviews. I don't know if there's a way that the NBA could reduce the length of time it takes for them to review because in some cases, I can understand if the things are not conclusive. I get that you gotta follow the rule, but you gotta make sure that it fits this criteria, yada yada. But it gotta be a way
yeah.
to speed it up. What's the whole point of having a? They're always talking about, or they can send it to Secaucus. They got a whole review center in New Jersey. What's the point of them doing that if he's still taking 10 real life minutes to figure out if something out of bones or not, or if somebody falls somebody or not? When you got all these different angles and stuff like that. Like,
I just got three initial reviews from each
yeah,
referee
exactly.
so that all the rest
Like,
could get involved. I mean, it's actually ridiculous. Like ever since the computer aided decision making entered the sports arena, in
mhm.
all sports, it hasn't been the best. It's always caused issues. It's given teams like you really lose the organic feel of there being an umpire because
Yeah.
it says that hey, there's a better decision making machine out there that can make the decisions for you. Was the point in having someone referee the game when we could basically look at everything on screen and kind of decide from there? Why don't they, I guess, question the, I guess, calls that referees might make that might seem really absurd and really
Mhm.
review those instead of reviewing things like this? You know what I mean? So there's definitely no balance or no like straight cut way of doing it, but it seems like when it comes to maybe certain matchups or certain points in a game, like they tend to really drag it out. Or maybe when it comes to certain stars that playing the game, like LeBron, that might be really upset from a poor decision, and, trying to get it right so you don't upset certain fans, I guess, and certain players.
Mhm. But I just funny viewer perspective. I was watching the game actually, and I was
Yeah.
like, every single time with the going back to the clock issue, every single time the game started back, they made start the game. Like it happened like 4 times in a row, and
I
the
think the
clock.
clock got tired.
Yeah, yeah. I actually funny. The commentator said that. The commentator said that the time that the clock got tired. It was like, are
Yeah.
you okay?
It's like
um,
11 minutes overtime. I ain't getting paid for this. I
it's true.
clocking out.
But so I got fed up and I turned off the game. I just say, what, let me just check the score when it done. If it even done on ESPN. If they got to
Yeah.
postpone the game or abandon the match as it is.
And
So yeah,
knowing
from a
that those
British
West
perspective, it was
games are
horrible.
late already too.
Well, no, that was actually a Sunday game. So it was
Pretty
Sunday.
early
No, that was
game,
a
huh?
Saturday game. No.
Yes.
It was an earlier
Yeah.
game, but it was still an early game on Saturday.
Right. It was Saturday, but
Uh,
early.
right. Yeah. So it was tough, man. But yeah, on the reviewing stuff, the NBA need to find a way to they've traded accuracy for time. And
Yeah.
basketball is a game
And
of momentum,
what were you
and
gonna call
there
it?
ain't nothing more
Organism?
momentum
You gonna
killing.
call it that?
Hmm?
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was thinking of
Sorry, no.
a word for like to mean organic. Like they've lost that as well. But I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, I don't think they got a problem with being organic. I just think they need to find a way to balance the accuracy with the time because they traded off the accuracy for time. And basketball is a game of momentum, and every time you slow down the game, players get cold. You're taking away from the excitement of the game as well. Uh,
Mhm.
guys come out there to see. At the end of the day, it's for entertainment, and ain't nobody want to watch a movie. You don't want to be tears and the movie pause to tell you that. I mean, hold on, I gotta go to the bathroom or somebody gotta go to the
Back to the
bathroom.
days
So
of
pause it.
buffering.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You don't want none of
Back
that.
to buffering days.
So take that same
Yeah,
analogy and apply it to the sport, man. Do better,
for
please,
sure.
NBA.
Yep. Um, Kyrie had a game winner. You can touch on that quickly. A
Yeah,
left hand, a tough left hand shot, floater, off
the left hook.
balance, kind of hook floater.
Yeah,
Really put a flat on on the Nuggets night yesterday.
yeah, for sure. I'm sure they was looking forward because they had like 5 wins in a row at a time. I'm pretty
Mm.
sure they was looking forward to build a winning streak to kind of finish out the season. I mean, they still got time to build another one.
Yeah,
But Jokic had a terrible game. Jamal Murray had a terrible game too, for the most part. In terms of stats wise,
yeah,
I didn't get to watch the game entirely. I started to watch it, but I ended up having to go and do something else. I think so. I didn't end up finishing it, but I can't speak too much detail on how the game went. But I could speak on
mhm,
that shot, and that shot was absolutely ridiculous. Uh, there ain't nothing that you could have really do about it, really and truly. I think it was over Jokic too, and he
yep. It
did the
was
best that he
contested
could.
very well by
Yeah,
Jokic, but
yeah,
hey,
he did the best that he could. It's just
sometimes the best is not
better
enough.
offense.
That's true. And then speaking of stats, Wemby continuing with
Mhm.
the with the insane stat lines, 33 points, 15 rebounds, 7 assists, 7 blocks. Like this man playing
Every
ball.
week, every
This
week
man
is
playing
like
ball.
something that we never seen before. And as I see it, this man is going to win the Rookie of the Year because people like things that they never see before. That's impressive. So if he
Yeah.
continues to rack up these impressive types of statistics and really and truly watching the highlights from it, I kind of got scared for the league because it's just like when this man realizes his true potential, his full potential for the game, who
Yeah.
is going to stop this man? Like literally, who?
I saw
Who?
him block a guy. I don't know who. The guy's not that popular, but he was basically standing by the rim. The guy went to fake a layup on Wemby's left, so Wemby
Mhm.
basically facing the other team's net.
Yeah.
And when we just put him his hand, the guy fake it, and then when we just turn around, put up his hand for
Yeah,
the
nah,
for the block, and just block the guy like if he was playing a kid, bro. Like
correct.
honestly, that is pretty ridiculous. You
Yeah,
got
if you
hit
got,
a lot of floaters like 4 feet away from Wemby,
mhm,
or or just got some Kyrie esque finishes to
yeah,
really get past this guy when he's in
yeah,
the paint. So
correct. But then he's
hey,
still blocking them. So like he passed through, so he could cover ground. And he got length. He got over a 7 foot wingspan. So
yo,
what are you supposed to do?
your best, I guess.
Yeah. So
It's,
yeah, he could
it's
be
not
a
really
terror for
much.
this. He could be a terror for the league. And I keep saying he doing it already. The season is still
Mhm.
he's still in the first season, and he's making such a big step in terms of his growth within the
Yep.
first season already. So next year, I'm pretty sure he can be averaging 20-something points. He can be averaging over 3 blocks a game for sure. But much
Mhm.
like he probably will better the blocks because as he gets better in terms of defensive intelligence, better at timing, better at seeing where people are going. Oh boy, I think to be honest, he's more scary on defense for me right now than on offense, truthfully, because
So
the
everybody
things
will
that
be
he could
telling
do in terms of
Gobert,
disruption.
like, yeah. So you gotta tell Gobert, hey, get your last ones where you can.
Yeah, boy, he coming. He's coming.
The
The
defensive
French
first guard.
connection, boy.
There's that. There's that for sure. Peoples, let's play a little game. We can call this one rocking or knocking.
Okay,
Basically,
no, no.
we can put down some statements and we can find out if you guys rock with them or if you guys don't really rock with them and want to knock them. And it's just a little segment that we can try out here. Hopefully, we can get this year going for subsequent weeks. But we need your participation, peoples. So let me get into it. Everyone, you ready for this?
Yes, sir.
Rocking or knocking? First statement: Clippers will stay healthy throughout the entire playoffs.
Knocking, knocking that, knocking that already. We already seen it here. So in the regular season, it's
Yep.
either James Harden is get some sort of issue. Oh well, James Harden is generally be available in regular season. I don't know if it's the pressure of the playoffs that's get to James Harden, but I've seen times where he has gone down. And when he was in the Nets specifically, he wasn't
Yeah.
100% healthy for the playoffs. Um, well, we see Westbrook out now for them, and they've been missing and they've been dropping some games. They got a losing record in the past 10 or so games, to be honest. Um, Kawhi is a real Kawhi is a real skeptical one. Like the last game that they played against the Timberwolves, uh, with that 22-point comeback from the Wolves, Kawhi went out in the game, had back spasms, and just like that, like
Cha boy.
just like that. So I am I I I knocking this statement. I don't think
You're
they'll
not
stay
confident.
healthy. Nah, don't think they'll stay healthy, and they will ultimately fall short again. Dangerous team are healthy, but I don't think they will. The odds aren't in their favor.
And that's kind of tough, given
Mhm.
the potential that team actually has,
Yeah.
being a dark horse pick from the beginning of the season of the Hastro Bros. But hey, I digress. Pacers will win a playoff series this year. You rocking or you knocking?
I rocking. I rocking. I just
You
feel
you
like
all for it. You all for the hype.
I, I just feel like the Pacers. I don't know what would be the right matchup for them right now, but it gotta be a specific matchup. Maybe if they get the Cavs, I ain't sure. Um,
Mhm.
but I just feel like they will be able to. They can have a team just can't keep up with their peers, can't keep up with their speed, can't keep up with their offensive efficiency. They share the ball so well. One of the best teams in terms of passing that I've seen. Everybody gets a piece of it, and it's spearheaded by Tyrese. I would say he's somebody that you know he gives the ball life. I don't know if that's the right way to
Yeah,
put it, but he
that's
just put
perfect.
some sir. Yeah, he just put something on the ball, and the guy's just like, yeah, I got to keep it moving. They play
Mhm.
some beautiful basketball in the offensive, and they can't stop a body, can't stop a boy. Have to play the Bucks. Have to play the Bucks and beat the Bucks bad all season. Uh,
Yeah.
that would be a terrible matchup for the Bucks in the first round. I don't. Well, actually, I think they're already six. Oh, let me see. I think
It's
they're already
pretty
six
dicey.
seed, already seven seed. Two. Is possible for them to play the Bucks in the first round, and if the Indiana Pacers play the Bucks in the first round, it might sound like a fool right now, but the way that they've owned them in the regular season, I know the playoffs is a different animal.
Yeah.
I just think that they can go into the Bucks lack a perimeter defense. They can go into a scoring boat, and the Pacers might come out on top in that series and upset the Bucks. Bucks will get
Yeah.
upset for a second straight season in the playoffs. I don't want that to happen, but I feel like
You
it will
kind of
happen
want
if
that
they
to
match it
happen.
again. Yeah,
You low key want that kind of happen.
yeah.
Are you all
I
for the
just
hype?
interested in the matchup. I interested in the matchup. It could happen. It's very possible to happen. So yeah, so they
Hey,
so I think they
don't
will win the
forget.
playoff series.
Don't forget. Pacers had a really good showing in a preview of a playoff tournament.
True.
In season tournament,
In
they
the
had a
season
pretty
tournament.
good
Yeah.
showing. They were very consistent, very energetic, and it's a young team, so I'm not putting anything past them. I might be rocking with the
Yeah.
Pacers for this one too.
Yeah.
All right, this is kind of a negative statement, but we can do it anyways. Will the Wizards end the season with the worst record in the league?
I
Or
welcome
I
with
should
that.
say, the Wizards will end. Just to make the question a little
Yeah.
more geared towards rocking or knocking.
Yeah.
Okay, statement: the Wizards will end the
Sorry.
season with the worst record in the league.
I welcome with that. Put your money on it. Go place your bets. Go
Hey,
on what is it? What price picks? All the sports betting
bet three
sites.
sixty five, bet
Bet three sixty
something.
five. All sorts of whatever. Lock it in. This team is trash. This team is bad. And
What are
compared
the
to the
odds
season,
on
I
that,
didn't think
bro?
they had a yeah. I didn't think that the roster was as bad as it. They had a decent collection of talent players, but
Mm-hmm.
Jordan Poole can't play with Kyle Kuzma. A whole bunch of that's just a dysfunctional team. Uh, I I felt that the Pistons would have been better. The Pistons disappointed me this season for the most part. Um,
Yeah.
but right now, I would still put the Pistons in terms of a better team ahead of the Wizards being the worst team in the league. The Spurs been bad, but they got Wemby, so they could be that bad.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say maybe the Wizards maybe get 3 more wins on the season. If that much, that might be a stretch.
I was
Yeah,
about to ask.
maybe two. So they might end the
Two,
season
okay.
13 and what that would be 13 and 19 and
13
and,
has
and
69.
69. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
So that means they'll lose 12 more games. So they will go. I predicting they go
That's tough.
2-12 in the last 8 games.
Question is, who will they be? All right, are you rocking or knocking a playing team? It's looking juicy, especially for the West. A playing team
Mhm.
will be a top 3 seed team in the playoffs.
I rocking with that. I am rocking with that because the standings in both conferences from 1 to 8, from 1 to 10, in the West specifically, has been tight in the entire season long. Entire season long.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some quality teams knocking around in the playing matchups that could go and upset one of these top 3 seeds in either conference. Um,
Yep.
my team, the Wolves, to get knocked out by a team that they probably don't match up very well when they're scared of the I don't even know. Maybe not the
Skill of Maverick.
Warriors. Maybe the
Suns.
Mavericks. Yeah, maybe the
Suns, maybe.
Mavericks. Maybe the Suns. These still got some quality players. These star players in the West, and then in the East, like you got the Heat. The Celtics. I don't know if they want to see the Heat
Not
in the first
nearly.
round. Like I picked the Celtics to win, but the playoff Jimmy is saying different. Uh, well, I don't rate the Sixers right now. The Pacers in the playing set in the playing spot right now, but I feel like they could beat the Cavs or even the Bucks. Like, um, if the Sixers were to fall to the 7th seed, for example, I feel like they
Yeah.
have the potential to beat a team. The Sixers with Embiid, uh, if they stay in the playing race, they could beat if Embiid is healthy. Let me put it out there. I don't think he will be very healthy if he comes back. But
Yeah.
um, potentially they could beat someone. Like, I guess the West is the more interesting. It has the more interesting conversations. But I just feel like maybe one of these teams, I don't know, maybe one of these teams like the Bulls that we're not even talking about may come and upset somebody tremendously. Maybe put one of these, maybe
Wolves.
put these Sixers out of the playoffs on a whole, and then
Mhm.
I don't see them beating Celtics. That's easy. But I don't know. Who
Hey,
knows?
the playoffs is
This year
bring a
is
different animal for
yeah
everybody. So
yeah. This year is crazy. But I think
it's
it will
possible.
happen. One of these conferences, one of these playing teams will beat one of these top 3 seeds. Well, I
Mhm.
guess if they're playing, they can only play a top 2 seed. They can only play one and 2 seeds. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, a playing team might knock out somebody that we don't think they should get knocked out. So I rock with that.
You're walking for the drama.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, this is kind of along the same line. So the Sixers will not make the playoffs. You rocking or you knocking?
yeah, I rock in. Uh, I just feel like they fall so far. You see them in EF right now. They have fell. They were the Sixers man and B was healthy.
Mighty
They were
fall.
in second or third position. They have
Yep.
fell. They have fell so far. And I was just speaking about something that I think will happen. The Bulls might beat them in the playing matchup and send them home for the season. Which I think is would be a blessing in disguise because no, and Embiid will rush and come back. Could spend some more time
Yeah.
again halfway for next season. Um,
Interesting.
but as I said, I don't think Tyrese Maxey is that player yet to really carry them. Um, and to keep them where, where they would have wanted to be. And we
Mhm.
seen that playing out. And I guess over the course of the rest of the season, I don't see them staying that high either. I think I don't know where's their strength of schedule for the rest of the season. I don't think it's particularly easy.
Right.
Um, so I see them falling out. I see them falling out to the playoffs on a whole, to be honest, because we've seen Embiid was literally carrying that team for the most part. He had Maxi there on the side, but he was the end all be all for that team, and
Yeah.
it's difficult for me to say that
That you will
they'll
knock
do
it.
better than they have. Yeah, they have a 17th toughest schedule, 17th toughest remaining schedule for the season, which is not terrible. So they may hover around that. They may hover around the AFC, um, but I just don't see. I don't see them. I don't see them making the playoffs.
No. This one, I can say right off the rip, I knocking, but there's potential. The New Orleans Pelicans will make the Western Conference Finals. Rocking or knocking?
I think this Pelican team is being severely underrated for the season. Right now, they're only one game away from the Clippers in the 4th seed, actually. They've been playing some inspiring basketball over the past couple of weeks. And Zion has been looking absolutely exceptional, to be honest. We talked about it last week. I don't know who could guard Zion. What are all these teams? Many think about it. I don't know. Was they talking with you? I can't remember if it was last week. I was talking with somebody about. No, it's probably when the men play basketball. I
Yeah.
just can't picture who when it lists out all the teams in the West. If Zion is going to be as dominant as he has been, he is being right now in the regular season. Uh, when it comes to playoff basketball, I don't know who who can guard this man. And they have a very versatile team from top to bottom. They could play big, they could play small. They got good defensive personnel. They got good offensive floor spaces. They got 3-point shooters. They got
Mhm.
guys that get to the paint. They got guys that get in mid range. Brandon Ingram. You got CJ McCollum. They just got a little bit of everything in all the right places.
Well
They
balanced
have
team.
the potential. That yeah, this very balanced team. Even in the scoring, Zion only averaging 22 points on the season. Brandon Ingram averaging 22 points on the season. CJ McCollum averaging 20. So like their top three players averaging about the same amount. So
Mhm.
very, very distributed. And a couple of weeks back, I remember was saying, yo, these men beating these teams so bad. Uh, they've been when they're supposed to be dominant, they've been dominant. So we could see super, super high highs. I don't know about the lows too much. I haven't really been
Mhm.
following them in terms of the losses, but I've been seeing them when they're playing well and they kind of look scary and they look a sleeper team in the West, to be honest. I think they could come as a crazy team. But despite all that, I'm knocking it. Don't
Yeah.
think I don't think
Man, don't get
I don't think
everybody hopes so high.
that I don't think that they're making the Western Conference Finals.
uh,
Uh, I don't think it's a
you might
long
got
shot,
reserve
but
reasons for that too.
yeah, yeah, a little bias. Um, but they do have the potential, but the likelihood of it happening, I ain't really sure. I ain't really sure
Yeah,
about it. So I'm knocking it. Uh, Pelicans, you could prove me wrong in the next couple of weeks. Well, in the next couple of months.
yeah,
It'll be fascinating to see you there because that's a different team for a change that never made it before. So
mm,
it'll be exciting to see how that goes down. But I'm knocking it.
knocking it right down.
Mhm.
Get that out of here. Well, let's transition to our market matchups for the week. We've pretty much
Mhm.
exhausted all of our talking topics. Let's go through our market matchups. We got Nuggets at the Wolves. I got the Nuggets to win this one. What says you, Raven?
I don't know if Rudy's gonna play. I don't like betting against my team. Last week I bet against my team and I win. If I do it again, and actually
Bittersweet, you said.
this might help them to win. Yeah, bittersweet. So let me go with the Nuggets. Maybe they might win again. I don't mind. I don't
Whoa,
mind losing
that's
that
rough.
point.
The ones that
I don't mind
actually
losing that point.
sacrificing being being the prediction king for this year in hopes that his team trying to work some minute juju on his team winning.
um, we
I
got we
guess.
got to do a update on the leaderboard. We didn't get to do one. I had
Oh
planned to
yeah,
do
we
it
actually didn't do that in a
today,
while.
but I could do it when we got Hakim on, so we could all be here.
Yeah, to feel the pain.
React to it. Yeah. Uh, the
um,
only guy in pain is me. That's just a sneak peek because I check it on.
hey,
I check it when it was preparing stuff for today.
it's because of
So
these picks. Don't mind me when you mind me, you continue to lose more and more,
I know
and
what you're
then
talking about.
I don't go anywhere. You know.
But I mean, I hear big Nuggets the whole time. So and the Wolves in that full strength, and that is a big part of what I think they're a good matchup for the Nuggets. But they
Yeah.
aren't at full strength, so I don't know how to beat them not being at the full strength. That gives them their too big identity to match up with the Nuggets.
We can put Wolves for Hakim just because he's not here.
I
But Celtics.
go with the Celtics, man. Celtics all the way. What you got?
I would probably do the same. I think that's a fair analysis. I mean, the Bucks can also give Celtics a little preview of what to expect in maybe a third round playoff. But we can leave it at that for now. This will be an interesting game.
Mm-hmm.
Magic at Pelicans. I going with the Magic.
Pelicans at Magic. Yeah,
Yeah, sorry.
I
Pelicans at
was just
Magic.
about to say I'm transferring my favoritism to the Magic, which is my second favorite team. Um, so yes, the Wolves you don't get it this week, but the Magic got it in your place. So
Who
um,
was gonna get it next previous week either. Seems like you're fully switching.
I ain't
Next
fully
next
switching it
season,
up.
people's we gonna hear right. Magic, magic, magic.
I say Magic is. I declared that from relatively early this season. That's my that's my next team that I follow. Um, so I go into Magic for that reason. Realistically speaking, in my head, I probably would pick the Pelicans because I think they're playing pretty well. But I
Yeah.
could say Magic may be one of the few teams that might have the personnel to guard Zion. That is one of the things that they have going with him. Maybe not in terms of size, but in terms of length. Yes, size in terms of height.
Hmm.
But you got Jonathan Hayes out there. Paolo Banchero is a pretty big fella. I don't think he is defensively stout in that way that I would consider him a defensive stopper. Um, their
Right.
defense is more predicated on the team game. They don't really have a lot of like super outstanding defensive players. Jalen Suggs is one, but he's a small player. He's like 6'1". He can't guard Zion. um, so they're bigs. They have a lot of bigs that they could throw at Zion, which is good. Or a lot of players that kind of in that between the range, power forward, big guys, but not really big enough to be centers,
Hmm.
or big guys that can move the feet fast enough to keep up with Zion. So I think they are a decent matchup for Zion. And there's still some optimism there, despite Zion's the Pelicans' impressive play over the past few weeks.
That's a good East West show down there, I think.
Mhm.
So yeah, that basically wraps it up for the NBA for this stream for this episode, peoples. But I would like to introduce one more thing for this stream before we head out, and it's the Hastro Bros World F1 musical chair move. Every now and again, we're gonna just put out a wild move that we think is gonna happen in the seat race for the F1 2025 season. We know there's 13 seats available, basically, and a lot of moving around could happen. And I know the big hitter names has been out there, but I want to make a relatively crazy prediction, which might not be too far fetched, but we know how politics could play a role in the decision of this one. But based on what I've seen in
Mhm.
previous years, in terms of growth, you guys not going to expect this at all. I have the Japanese driver Yuki Tsunoda to go to
Oh,
Mercedes.
what?
No,
Definitely not.
hear me out. Put in. Oh, you knocking this? Putting aside the whole political aspect, I think he would be a perfect fit for Mercedes. Why? He's fast. Mercedes want a fast driver. I think he's fast. I think he's matured a lot based on where he's started. Like he learned a lot under France Toss, and I know a lot of people in the paddock praise France Toss for rearing good drivers. Like he's reared Pierre Gasly, he's reared Carlos. Like he's had a good hand in developing drivers. So from Yuki being a hothead, crashing a lot, making a lot of mistakes, into becoming this more mature driver and actually showing a lot of pace, I think Mercedes should start looking at him. So Yuki Tsunoda to Mercedes in 2025, peoples. That's
so
my pick.
so you don't think that they're going to take that flyer, take that jump on your boy Kimmy at all anymore?
Hey, this is a hot take. This is a wild one. I don't know, man. I don't know. Kimi hasn't shown domination as yet. I mean, it's only two races. We'll
Yeah,
see
two
what
races.
happens this week
Exactly.
in Melbourne. But two races so far. I think Kimi might need a few more years in F2,
Mhm.
maybe at least one more.
One more. Mhm.
Um, but hey, I got Yuki Tsunoda, people. So see, I looking in the camera, telling you, Yuki
Well, you gotta
Tsunoda to
rate that down.
Mercedes.
You gotta rate that down.
Hey,
You gotta rate it
there
down,
it
date it
is.
so that if it does happen, say boy, you go have
Cash
yourself a
money,
profit, man.
cash money, bro. Gotta put it out there. for sure. Yuki Tsunoda to Mercedes, George Russell and
Mhm.
Yuki. That's a top pairing. Like people need to get on my way for real though. This is actually wrong. This is insane. But I digress. I digress. Anything else from you, sir? Before we
and
log off?
no man, we had a pretty I would say a long session to some extent. Pretty decent session.
Yeah.
We talked a lot of basketball today for sure. We getting
Yeah.
some nitty gritty. With some behind the scenes details on whole defenses work on all that on my Rudy Gobert
Yeah.
spiel.
A
And
masterclass.
so I think people tired of hearing me talking now. So
Uh,
I
fair
done for the
enough. Fair
day.
enough. Yeah, people's as always, keep following us on Instagram. Big shout out to Zane. I want to say that best wishes for this week in Melbourne. Melbourne
Yeah,
is a
for
fast track. I
sure.
think Melbourne would definitely suit him.
Mhm.
So wishing him all the best for this week, and I hope he can get some podiums in as
Be
well. So
one.
yeah, people's follow. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Major anthem playing
Yeah.
strong. So yeah, people follow us on Instagram. Also, if you listening to the stream afterwards, it don't matter. Hit that like button. We appreciate it. Share it with people that you think would enjoy the content. Would like to engage in discussion. We appreciate that. And if you would like to listen to the stream, but you don't have time to watch it, you don't really gotta see we faces. That's all right. But if you want to listen to it, hit us up on Spotify. We got that for you as well. So yeah, people, this has been Hastro Bros. Thank you for joining us this week, and we will see you later, family. Peace.
Yala.